Hi guys, welcome to another card video. Today we'll be making a card using Simon Says Stamp Frozen Fractal Stamp set that came in January 2017 card kit. What you see me doing here is trying to arrange all the beautiful snowflake stamps on the card front. Just to protect my card from any accidental damage, I'm covering it up with a bit of clear packaging material and I'll take it off when I'm ready to stamp. This is something I like to do when I know I haven't completely cleaned up my stamps and there might be some ink on it, but I'm still not exactly sure where I want to place my stamp. The plastic helps me see through but still cover my surface. So we have stamped it on the card front. This is a top folding card, standard A2 size. And now we are going to repeat the exact same pattern on the blue vellum piece, which I have cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But the height is little more. It's not 5 1/2. It's about 5 3/4. And I folded the top part so that this becomes the top panel on my card front. Now I'm using my powder tool to cover my surface, which is the vellum surface, with powder, and that will take off any oils or smudges that my hands might have left on it, and it will make sure when I stamp with Versamark, the only stickiness is where that ink is, and rest everything is clear. So my embossing powder will stick to only those areas. The best part about Misty is, as you can see here, my top snowflake did not stamp completely, so I'm just repeating the stamping, and this time I'll make sure I press that part really hard so that I'll get really good clean impression. Now that I'm happy with my stamping, I'm going to go to the next step for heat embossing. I'll put my Misty away and I will cover this entire surface in white embossing powder. I am just using a piece of scratch paper with a fold in the middle under the vellum, so when I'm having excess powder I can collect it and scoop it back into the container before I bring any heat so that I don't accidentally melt the powder in the container. And I have already heated up my heat tool, so I have left it on for some time so that it's nice and hot. That is one thing we have to remember when we are doing heat setting on vellum, because vellum is a material that's easy to warp. As you can see here, this piece also got warped a little bit, but not too bad. I was able to fix it by leaving it to cool, and then I put my finished card at the end back in Misty. I put magnets on it and I closed the door and I left it alone for an hour or something. That kind of flattened it out. What you see me doing now is I'm trying to see where I want my sentiments. I'm going with the group of sentiments, like two that complete each other. The first one says when you have snow, either you can shovel or make snow angels, and the bottom one says I choose angels. I'm using Hero Art's shiny gray ink. I'll link to the exact name of it in the description below. And I'm using that ink to stamp my sentiment. I'm also going to use the same ink and stamp some little snowflakes everywhere so that I bring in that color not only in the sentiment but also in my design. That helps me tie everything together. I'm not going to do this on the vellum front because that part I just want it to be white on blue and just leave it at that. And when you open it, then you see all the colorful part inside, colorful card inside, and you see the sentiment on the colorful part. So that's what I'm attempting to do here. For the third snowflake, I messed up a little bit, so I didn't completely get the impression correctly. But since I was not using Misty, I had to go and fix it manually. You'll see it in a little bit what I did. I'm also stamping this little snowflake using blue ink, just just because, no rhyme or reason. Okay, so here is how I fixed the broken gray stamp image. I took my Artist Loft coloring pencil. This is, I think, from my daughter's set, and I simply hand drew the missing pieces myself. I also dipped the tip of this pencil into that same shiny ink, and I brought it to the card, and just under the bottom sentiment, I went over it and drew some simple lines. Just something I tried. In the end, I wasn't really happy with it, so I went over this entire line with a shiny pen, and that's a Sakura gel pen. I will link to that also in the description below. And to bring in that color everywhere, I added some tiny dots, making it look like there was real snowfall. Okay, back to the vellum piece. It has cooled now. I took a dry tissue paper and I wiped off all the powder. That powder is not stuck, it is just there, like it is on the surface, but it is not completely stuck to the paper, so it's easy. Just rub it off with some dry, you can use a cloth. I used a tissue paper and just clean it off. Now I'm using that little scored area at the top to put some score tape, and that way I will attach this to the front of my card. I went in and I put the score tape, and before removing the release paper, I brought in my card front and made sure, fidgeted with it a little bit, and made sure I wanted the images to be exactly on top of each other with little bit of offset, not much, but I made sure I liked it exactly where I wanted it to be. And then I turned it over, removed the release paper from the score tape, and then I folded it over to get the vellum on front of my card. At this point, my card was pretty much finished, but I could not let it go, so I had to have sequins. And I think I went crazy with this card. I added some white opaque sequins, which I got as my DT package for Stamping Smiles and Designs Tic-Tac-Toe Challenge design team. And I added some of those. I added some clear sparkly ones from Simon Says Stamp, and I added couple snowflakes. That snowflake sequin mix you see out there also came in the January card kit. And I'm using glossy accents. I probably should have used matte, but I am yet to order it. So I just use my glossy accents, and this is my final card. This is how it looks on the front, and this is inside. As you can see, there are tiny dots of shininess that I added everywhere. This is my test piece that I created earlier with a slightly different color scheme, and this is the inside of it. I hope you like these cards, and I hope you are inspired to create something like this on your own. Thank you so much for visiting. I'll see you next time.